Hey everybody, this is Everyday Commentary. This is Sweet Stuff Saturday, not recorded on a Saturday. It is the close to the start of June. It's the first Saturday in June. It's June 3rd, June 4th when I'm recording this. And I got a cool knife for you. This is a knife that I bet you have not seen. And it is the Q Firearms Saboteur. This is a knife produced by a firearm company, and it does not stink. The knife is no longer in production. It's no longer being sold. So if you have one, you have one. If you don't, you don't. But this knife is a really interesting little design. Most of the companies that make guns make crappy knives, and most of the companies that make those knives do so through an OEM. They're basically just branding an object. The knife that we're looking at here, I'm not 100% sure who the OEM is. It has a little bit of a WE feel. It has a little bit of a Bestech feel. I'm not sure. But this knife is a quite nice little blade. So it has a thumb disc. This thumb disc is almost 100% ornamental. Like even that is tough to do. So I'm not exactly sure why there's a thumb disc. This is really a front flipper. And as you can see, the flipper tab here is quite small, and it gives you just enough room to pop the knife open. And there is some really nice machining done here. The lock bar is super minimal because the lock bar flex pocket is on the inside, and it just makes for a very, very clean knife. The clip is right up against the spine, which means you can kind of just bury this knife in your pocket. It deep carries. It's a bronzed clip. It looks very, very nice. The entire knife looks gorgeous. It's funny, it almost has a sway back feel, like if this was just a little bit more canted. It's not a sway back. You can see the spine is dead flat, but the shape of the blade kind of reminds me of a sway back, or the shape of the blade and the shape of the handle back here kind of remind me of a sway back, and I don't think that's unintentional. The blade is right over 3 inches. I want to say it's like 3.25 inches. The steel is 20 CV steel, and it rides on ceramic bearings. Overall, it's a really, really interesting knife. Here it is in comparison to one of my favorite knives I've been carrying recently. This is the Bridgeport 945. Is it 945? Oh, 495. The Bridgeport Knife Company 495. This is a really good knife made by, I think it's made by Kube, and it just fires out. It's got really good deployment, good, nice long thumb hole or thumb oval, good in the hand. But as you can see, this is not a giant knife, and this knife is even slimmer. It's a little bit longer, which is why this is like a 3.25 inch and it's a 3-point-inch blade. But it's super slim. I mean, the blade obviously on the Bridgeport is much wider, but the handle is significantly taller as well. If you stack up the handles, you can see, like, this knife almost completely covers the Saboteur. Really nice, slim gentleman's knives. Q Firearms makes some pretty nice high-end guns. I don't know anything about guns, so I'm just saying based on their look and their price and the materials that they look okay. But this knife is really quite good. It's super competitive in the market. It's got a unique look and feel. The Saboteur name is not a bad name for a knife if you're going for a knife. I'm not a huge fan of crazy names, but this one doesn't do too much to, disrupt anybody's sense of propriety. But at the same time, it sounds cool. It's not like the what's the Kaiser knife that's like the butcher or the murderer. It's nothing that dumb. Another thing that's really interesting is you can see that this has a stop bar that is integrated into the blade and is actually cut out on the back so that it does kind of ride almost visible, like right there. It is almost, I think you're basically just getting the reflection. But that's a really cool way to do that. You know, oftentimes it's just internal. There's a channel cut out. Here, it's actually coming up against something. It's the back of the channel. You can see right there. Another thing that's nice about this knife, look inside. Look how much milling they did inside to get this knife down to some kind of, you know, normal, usable weight. I love that. One thing that they did miss an opportunity to do, they could have put an integrated lanyard hole here. I'm not, like, you don't need to change your knife design for a lanyard, but if they wanted to, they could do that. Backspacer is nice. Everything here is really tight. One issue that I have is that there is just this smallest bit of blade play, but nothing that's outrageous, certainly within normal tolerances. You know, I basically assume you're going to have to tune your knife a little bit. It's what happens after you do that initial tuning that makes a difference. If it stays there, then you're good. It's when you do that initial tuning and it doesn't stay there that I think that there's a fit and finish problem. Not everybody has the same preferences and tolerances as others. You know, some people, this is going to be a knife that they don't think has any ability to play. You know, for the pickier people, they're going to go bananas. Some people are going to say, I like the action as it is, and I'm willing to accept that blade play. I prefer a little bit, I mean, as you can see, it's a drop shutty knife. So I'd prefer a little bit slower open and a little less drop shuttiness in favor of like zero blade play. And I think this is like, you know, a 1/10 of a screw turn away from that. So not a big deal. Really nice knife. It's interesting to see a gun manufacturer take knives seriously. And if this is their first offering, I'd be excited to see what their second offering is. So when you get a chance, go on over to their website, take a look, see if they have any new designs, because this one's pretty sweet. Thanks.